already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in case these notifications ain't go out. And give me a minute while I try to get myself comfortable. For those in the city right now, we done started back. This little minor heat wave coming through until at least Friday or Saturday. So for those who gotta be out and about, especially during the day, make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated. Try to keep yourself cool as possible. Summer still is here, so just try to keep yourself in the best shape. Again, just make sure everything is where it needs to be at. And if you're feeling any type of medical issues or conditions during that little heat wave again, don't not hesitate to take yourself to the hospital and get yourself checked out. James number 8, what's going on, my guy? Serious, baby. Up in here, see you up in here. First things first, you already know, hopefully everybody having a blessed and productive Taco Tuesday. And again, hopefully everybody is keeping themselves cool. No matter where you at right now, it's still summertime and it's still hot box out there. So, just make sure you're doing your overall best to maintain and sustain. That's it. Those celebrating birthdays, those who were celebrating birthdays this weekend, and this upcoming weekend, hopefully y'all, enjoy yourselves, keep doing what you're doing, keep building memories, and again, take every moment that you need to take, take it in stride, but again, also just enjoy yourself the best way possible. Appreciate everybody that tuned in Friday for the conversation. Definitely was a great one. For those that missed it, you could definitely catch the replay. I ain't gonna be too crazy today. I do want to talk about one or two minor little things, especially for those that's in the workforce. Question of the day is, how would you deal with racism within the workplace? Interesting question, because some people are gonna have different answers, definitely. First of all, how would you go about it? That's number one. And where would you go from there after going through it? Now, Sophia too, baby. Now, some people, I'm not gonna lie, have different ways of dealing with it. Some people are gonna go directly to the head source or the person in charge of the company, which is technically the way you're supposed to do it. But you got some who they're gonna take things into their own hands before they even think to go to the high ups. BDB, going on, my guy? Beardman, ABC, BBD. What's going on, my guy? Hopefully you enjoyed yourself yesterday, y'all. Y'all all wish BDBGP a happy belated. Yesterday he was rocking out. How we do things. But yeah, like I said, you got some people who they'll definitely take it the way they supposed to take it. They go to the higher ups or go to whoever and let it be known, because that's what they would want you to do, because especially with HR and stuff like that, because they also have to be a part of that. So the reports could be done and everything could be assessed, so on and so forth. James, what's going on, my guy? Yeah, you already know, my guy. Come on, son. I think I had missed Sunday's situation because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I had to work and I was tired as all hell. But you know how we do over here, son. But yeah, how would you deal with it? I mean, because like I said, everybody has different ways of dealing with it. Some are going to go up the totem pole and speak to whoever. Some are going to handle things themselves. Now, for those who handle things themselves, just know there could be some form of consequences, because if it gets to a certain point where it leads to a fight, prime example, a physical fight, or, you know, even just an all-out war, shoot, you still gonna have some form of blame at the end of the day, because you didn't follow the proper procedures when it came to that. So, you know, just want to give that fair warning and heads up to those who need to hear it. You know, yes, you're gonna go through certain situations, especially on the workforce. Sometimes it could be a race issue, but the thing is not to be baited into that issue neither. You know, people are going to say and do ignorant things. It's about how you react. And that's the most important thing to remember. It's about how you react to things. You know, you don't always give energy where it's not needed. You know, some people are going to be that way as far as how they move with people, because this is what they was taught. This is what they would consider normal, but it's not. But I would say this in a certain instance: can't play that race card or play that racism card when you're in an area where it's prime example. And I'm gonna say this for some who need to hear it. You can say all the things you want to say, but if you're in a company where it's majority melanated brothers and sisters that work there and that whatever, you better tread lightly in what you're saying. And vice versa. Our people gotta always remember this too. If you're working in a spot where it's predominantly, you know, Spanish or Caucasian, yeah, I'm trying to use all the good words today. You know, you gotta be careful again of what you're saying and how you doing things on the job, because it can affect you at some point, you know. For some people, you know, again, you know, you gotta make sure you're keeping yourself out of that ignorant box, because that's what a lot of them expect, ignorance. But get here, do a job, and then take your butt home. You know, however you may feel, cool. But on a workplace, nah, you gotta be professional. Platty, baby. I'm in Chicago, baby. You already know how it is, though, BDB. Shit. You know, enjoy every bit of your gray hairs, man. Shoot. I just told you yesterday, son. I got a bunch of them. I ain't mad. That just means wisdom. And that just means we got seniority in this mug. But yeah, you know, it's you know, it's a way to do things, and there's a way to, you know, keep yourself keep yourself from crashing out, basically. You know, because again, you don't necessarily have to give energy to anything that it ain't hurting you. You know, it ain't setting you back none. So again, just, you know, be mindful. You know, but if you are experiencing that type of situation and it's a consistent thing, then hey, you do it the proper way. You know, as much as you would want to take it to the streets, nah. You just take it the way you need to take it to. 22, what's going on, my guy? You already know, if y'all just tuned in, hit that like button. But yeah, you know, the thing is, again, making sure that, you know, you do things the proper way, so this way it won't land negatively on you. You know, because you gotta think about it. You know, you're gonna have different personalities, and you're gonna have different races that are working in the job for you. But guess what? You know, it's about having decorum even when you on a job. Like, prime example, some Spanish people will sit here and make fun or try to crack jokes and say whatever in their language. But little do they know, we have people who actually know the language and speak it quite fluently. So if you say the wrong thing, prime example, thinking that the person ain't gonna hear it, and then they turn around and give you a dose of your own reality, what you gonna say then? You know? That's why I said you gotta be careful in the things you saying and the things you doing, especially in the workplace. Even if you are joking, some people ain't gonna be in a jokeful mood. Some people are gonna take that as an offense, especially if it's said a certain way. You know? I can remember one year, Spanish dude had the nerve to say gordo to me, and I looked at him and laughed. I said, "Oh, I'm the big one. You're bigger than me, my guy. So you can't just call me gordo. You gotta call yourself gordo." He said it right in his language, and he looked at me like he was in shock. Yeah, I took some Spanish. I know exactly what it means. You called me a big boy, but guess what? You're bigger than me. You're almost 300 pounds. I'm nowhere near that. See, I could have took it another way. I could have just slapped the hell out of him because I knew what he said. But I ain't sensitive like that. See, and that's another thing. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in that. Because that's what a lot of them want. You know, a lot of them want to see where you going to go and how far you going to take it. So, you know, your best bet a lot of times is just ignore it. But if it's becoming a consistent problem, then by all means, you take things the way you're supposed to take it. You know, and let it be known. Because that's my thing. If you are coming to do your job, you shouldn't have to worry about unnecessary nonsense neither. You know, for some people, it's easy to just say, I come to work, I mind my business, I do what I do, and then I go home. For others, you know, you might have things you have to, you know, deal with other people. And if you're going to be dealing with other people, again, there should be no ignorance when it comes to race, creed, whatever. At the end of the day, you're all human beings, and you're all here for a reason. So, you know, again, it's just about how you do things. Not so much as what you do, but how you do it. You know? And this should be a life lesson for some people, because some people have gone through it. Yeah, I've seen some people who have lost their job just because they allowed their anger to override everything. Like I said, in my opinion, it's almost like I said, it's a race bait. Let me see if I could get the Negro mad today. Let me see if I could get the Mexican mad today. Let me see how far this one is willing to crash out. When you know you have people like that are working around you, you try to stay far away from them as possible. And if you have to be around them, again, you don't have to give it an energy that's not needed. Now you gotta think about it. Some people are born into ignorance and born into nonsense, if you believe it or not. They are. Because again, they think that's something normal. Especially if this is something that they're accustomed to seeing and being around all day, every day. Yeah, they're going to take that into their adulthood and think that that's the proper way to deal with people. But I would also say this, that will be your downfall overall, because what company at some point, especially if this is a pattern with you, what company is really going to want to hire you? What company is really going to want to keep you around if that's what you're known for doing? See, there's some of y'all that don't take that into consideration. The things you do, if it's a consistent pattern, I don't care how many jobs you had, I don't care how good your resume may look, some people are not going to take that risk. So you're going to end up putting yourself in a situation where you're going to have to start working for yourself. And if that's what you want to do, cool. Like I said, I don't condemn anybody who's working for somebody or working for self. What I don't agree with sometimes is how, you know, things are dealt with as far as the work is concerned. You know, so, you know, some of y'all just got to make sure that you're not putting yourself in that category neither, you know. You know, but when you also feel like it's become too much and nothing is being changed, you do have all rights to leave too. Just remember that part. You don't stay somewhere where it doesn't feel right. You don't stay somewhere where you know things are not going to change. You know, you have the opportunity and the free will to kindly find something else to do. You know, I can remember one of my peoples telling me I forget the name of the company, but he said it was a good company, don't get it wrong. He was paying good and all, but the fact that, you know, the fact that it's not a consistent, steady schedule, like instead of a normal 9 to 5, you could be working more than 9 hours, 10 hours, and then the fact that schedules wasn't getting put up on time and things along that nature, it kind of drove them crazy, you know. Like, how would I know, prime example, if I'm going to be able to go out, go do anything when I don't have a schedule up yet? So I can see why he got mad and left. You know, you're going to have some different things outside of racism that plays a part in the workplace, you know, and again, it's solely up to you to decide what you're going to do from there. One thing I can tell you though is that no matter what you're doing, as far as your occupation is concerned, you just got to make sure you're consistent, but also make sure that you're happy. You already know, 22. I ain't got no choice but to be solid. That's just who I am. I might seem like a grouch sometimes. I might seem like a little rough one, but nah. Just me being solid, me being who I am. But I would say that for anybody. You know, the main thing is just keep yourself solid, keep yourself poised. You know, no matter what you're doing. Even if you are working for yourself, you know, you just got to make sure everything is where it needs to be. Like if you own a company, prime example, okay, that's a good thing. That's a good look right there. You know, now you're on the way to doing what you feel you set out to do. But if you own a company too, you got to also remember your employees are the main reason why you're in business. And if the employees are unhappy, or if the employees just lack the work ethic, things could go down here. '22, the mindset, that been instilled in me. I've been like this since I was a young Padawan, if you want to say that. Yeah, I've had my angry moments. I've had my I don't give a damn moments, so on and so forth. But I mostly just had an overall open, optimistic mind. So, you know, it's things that I don't get angry about. Because I look at it as how people would say now, I'm looking at it as clickbait. Like, oh, okay, you trying to bait me to have the wrong answers or the wrong type of mindset, but nah. I look at the world different, and that's pretty much it. I look at the world different. Breeze, what's going on, my guy? Yo, son, you still owe me a pork chop sandwich too, son. I don't think you slick just coming up in the church like that. Shout out to my brother Breeze. Yeah, but you know, again, you know, for some that need to hear that, you own the company, even if it's a small company, you still got employees. The main thing to remember is making sure that your employees are happy, making sure that they're taken care of. But in the same token, making sure that the workplace is a safe workplace and a safe environment, you know, especially if they trying to thrive and they trying to get on their own. You don't know how many people done messed themselves up out of some good stuff just because, again, they're not doing the necessary things they're supposed to be doing to keep the people happy. Racism on the job or anything along those lines is just going to cause chaos and friction. So your best bet a lot of times is just monitor what you can monitor And if somebody has come to you, and again, this is for those who do own companies, if somebody has come to you and told you a situation and telling you that it's been consistently happening and you don't do nothing, expect something bad to happen. You know, that's just like if somebody is consistently saying and doing the wrong type of things, right? You done went to HR, you done went to the higher ups, but the higher ups don't do nothing. At some point, that person is going to snap, especially if it's a consistent problem where it's affecting, it's affecting their work ethic and stuff like that. Because don't nobody want to be on a job and be stressed out. Don't nobody want to be on a job and feel like I'm about to bust somebody's head open if they don't leave me the hell alone. The goal again is just making sure that you're in a comfortable space. And that's what I'm saying. We gotta keep having talks like this because again, you're gonna have some people who go through things like this. My job, prime example, we deal with everybody, including those who are coming from other countries. So there's certain things we know not to say and not to do, especially around them, because they will feel a type of way. Or they will think that, we're being racist, basically, but we're not. So again, like even down to the jokes, depends on what you're joking about. But if it's a joke that everybody is going to laugh at and tee ha ha at, can't take that as serious. Like I said, it depends on what you said. And it also depends on how you said it. If it sounds like it's in a joke form, then leave it as that. If it don't sound like it's a joke, then you question what you need to question, or you just, again, do your careful observations and make sure everything is everything. Because the one thing you don't want to do is accuse somebody of something, and it ain't true. So, you got to remember that part too. Because some people's perception might be different from yours. What you might deem as a joke, some people are going to take it as a form of disrespect. Or some people are going to take it a certain way. And then now, look, now you having issues for nothing. But all in all, though, I think there's multiple ways to handle these type of situations, 22, you asked this question, and I'm gonna tell you the best way I can tell you. Because they don't care. They don't care about us. You should know this already. 22, you older than me, bro. You've been through it. You know for a fact they don't care when it comes down to the children about certain things in the schools, man. But see, again, it's not just the schools that should be teaching these type of things. It, again, starts from home. Because what are you as a parent teaching your child? Are you teaching your child how to deal with, certain scenarios? How are you teaching them that? If you even teach them anything at all. That was a good question right there, though. That's what I'm saying, but you gotta think about it. A lot of these things are getting cut. So even if that was a program in the schools, which I kind of believe it was to a degree, but you also have counselors that you could talk to. In case you don't have a strong family background, there's always still counselors and things like that outside of that they can do that. And to be quite honest with you, some of these programs, they cost money. Money that they don't have or say that they don't have. But again, all of that anger management and all of those things, it does start from home. Because if a child is in an angry house environment, what you think they're going to do when they get outside? They're going to take all that anger and aggression and bring it outside. So if there's nothing solid being taught at home, can't expect them to learn it anywhere else. And even if they do, it's going to take a while before they do. Hold on 1 second, Sirius. Let me pin this. Appreciate you for dropping those links, Sirius, baby. Working hard in my damn AC, baby. But no, that was a great question though, and it's the truth. You know, a lot of them are not going to promote that because why try to promote things along that level? See, some people just are going to go through these stages until they get to a peaceful mind state. You know, some people are born with anger issues, or not born, but they have them little issues. Because you never know what's going on at home. It could be physical and verbal abuse going on at home. That's something to look at too. It could be physical and verbal abuse going on at home. Sometimes, how they say it, sibling rivalry too. Yeah, you're going to fight amongst your siblings, you're going to argue or whatever, but when it starts getting to a point of resentment or almost to a point where it's almost like you want the parents to choose who's the better child, and there's a lot of different scenarios that take into play when dealing with that. Again, some people are frustrated because they probably having a hard time trying to learn. But again, these are things that's up to the parents to start looking into. Prime example, if I was a young one and I had anger issues, and my anger issues could be stemming from the fact that I'm having a hard time reading, I'm having a hard time doing math, or something that I feel everybody else done got and I'm still trying to follow behind or I'm trying to catch up with, it'll be frustrating. Like prime example, you got some kids who are frustrated that they can't read past a certain level or they can't read past a certain speed. That's something that the parent has to sit down with them and have a talk with. And also let them know that, listen, you might not be as fast as everybody else, but that doesn't mean you still not unique. That does not mean that you still can't learn or that, you got to break that down. Again, when your kids are going through a whole bunch of stuff, whether it's stemming from the household or not, you as the parent still have to be responsible. You still have to make sure that your child understands everything that's happening, everything that's going on. And also let them know that, look, even if you feel like you're this upset, come sit down and talk. That was the one thing I could say about my mom's, may she rest in peace. Even when she wasn't feeling her best, look, if anytime you going through something, if anytime you feel like you need to just talk about anything, come sit down and talk with me. And I can try to help you the best way possible. And that's what most parents are supposed to do. Shit, even my uncles and them say the same thing. Nephew, if you ever feel like this, or even now, if you feel like this, come sit down and have a talk with me. And I think that's something that needs to be said. Encouraging your kids, and encouraging your nieces, nephews, families, the younger ones, that look, we all are going to have our angry days. We all are going to have days where we don't feel our best. We're going to have days when we feel less than. But at any time you do feel that way, come sit down, talk. Let's try to figure out where we could meet up at as far as how you're feeling and what we could go from there. How can we push that? Appreciate you, serious baby. But that's just anybody. The people that I came around, the people that I grew up around, most of us didn't come from a messed up background just because we came from the hood. Nah, we had parents that actually cared. We had parents and grandparents, uncles and aunts, shit, even older siblings. If it was that situation, you got older siblings who might have got custody of you or whatever the case was. The thing was, look, sit down and talk. If there's an issue, sit down, come talk. Don't try to do things, don't try to just do things that is, going to hurt you in the long run. Don't be too irrational and too emotional. So that's the most important thing to remember. It's like just having structure. You know, like how for some of us, you know, you could go to your mom's, your father, or either both of them at the same time, no matter how you felt or no matter what you was going through. The one thing they couldn't stand, or at least from what I seen, don't have me getting called. Don't have me getting called to your school or getting called off of work early because of something you could have talked to me about. And that's the most important thing. Cause like most of us, we ain't trying to miss no days. We ain't trying to miss no work. You know, and that's what I'm saying. That's what separated a lot of scenarios. You know, because again, we had structure, we had communication, we had that notion to know, all right, I might be going through this now, but if I sit down and talk with somebody that I could actually trust, and hey, even if you can't talk to your parents, right? You still need somebody that you can talk to, especially when you're going through, you know. And that's the thing, though. You know, some people are gonna make the most irrash decisions because they too angry, they too volatile. But if they sit down and have a deep conversation and talk about it, you know, they could get up out of that. Like, I'm gonna say it like this: give or take, prime example, right? Your kid might be upset because he didn't make the basketball team. Your kid might feel upset and feel to a point where they might want to quit on whatever it is whatever they want to quit on, whatever else they might think about doing, just because of that scenario. It could be different nowadays, you know, because some people don't care if they make it or not. But that'd have been like your child upset because you didn't make it. You still got to sit down and have a talk with them and tell them, like, look, you know, if you really serious and dedicated to this, then try again next year. You know, keep pushing yourself. Keep practicing. Keep doing what's necessary. If you need help, I'll be there to help. You know, things along those lines. You need encouragement. Spider, what's going on, my guy? You know, you definitely need encouragement. And in the best way. Because again, you don't know how they feeling. And they, like I said, you have some people who will turn down a dark road just because they didn't succeed in one or two things that they was trying. But again, letting them know that failure is a part of life. Failure is a part of the day-to-day. And not saying you're going to fail every day or you're going to fail at everything that you do. But there are going to be some things that you are going to fail at. And it's okay because you learn lessons from those failures. That's the part of growth, you know. By you not learning from them failures or for you not doing what's necessary, you're never going to mentally grow. You know, and that's what I'm saying. You know, when we see that there's certain things, prime example in the school, that ain't being done, that's because, to be honest, the school is only responsible for but so much. For those 8 hours or whatever that they are in the school, yeah, school is supposed to make sure everything is everything. But them days outside of school or them hours outside of school, that's strictly up to the family. That's strictly up to the parents. See, the problem is some people have gotten too reliant on the school doing everything instead of saying, nah, you know what, there's certain things we know they ain't gonna do, we know they ain't gonna whatever, so we gotta be on it. I mean, yeah, they could teach certain things, but then there's a lot of things that, like I said before, been cut out the quote-unquote budget. Crying about a budget, crying about this, but again, you know, it takes work and dedication. You know, and it also takes discipline to deal with certain things. You know? Like, prime example, you can't try to give advice about something as far as anger is concerned, when you're the angriest person in the world. So, you gotta be able to be open-minded, and you also gotta know that, look, there are better things around that corner. But if you get too emotional, get too detached from humanity, and you start doing things that you know for a fact could be dangerous to yourself, that's a problem. That's why it's important for the parents to have these talks. That's why I said it one time before. It seemed like the simplest things that we were accustomed to has disappeared. Shoot, even sit down and have these talks with your kids about racism and what to expect, what not to expect, how to deal with certain situations if there is a situation. Again, most of these things that we complain about, it does start from home. How do I expect my kid, prime example, not to be out here doing certain things when this is what they're learning at home? Like, prime example, I can't expect my kid not to be out there in the streets hustling or doing whatever when all I'm doing is showing them this is what I do every day. So I told somebody, when it comes to certain situations, even if it's things you don't want your kids to be around, or if it's things that you don't want your kids to be a part of, you gotta learn to separate things. You gotta shield them from it the right way. But I would say in a certain age anyway, that street mentality should be gone, especially when you do have kids. Because how long you think you're going to be hustling in the streets or doing whatever in the streets before you realize it was all worth nothing, That's all I'm saying. It's things that you have to teach at home, so this way they get a better understanding. And then this way, some of them won't come to school angry. Some of them won't go out in the world angry. It's just real raps. And the things that, for example, the schools won't promote, or the schools don't have the money or the whatever for, or the resources for, you have the money and the resources for it. So why not take that into the initiative? And some people, you ain't got to do much. Like I said, even down to the simplest things. Prime example, instead of just having a tutoring program, you should have your own program. Listen, if you're dealing with anger problems, if you're having any form of anger issues, you could come here, come sit down, come talk with somebody, especially a licensed professional, and get it out. It's important. It's important to try to do the best things that you can, because in the long run, when it's all said and done, some of these things that you teach, especially in the household, is going to be, my bad, y'all. Shout out to the ginger ale, though. Ain't gonna lie. But yeah, some of the things you say, some of the things you do, when it comes down to what you teaching your kids, it'll point back to you at some point. Because when you're not getting ahead of some of these problems, first thing they're gonna say is, well, what the parents doing? Well, why is this continuously happening? Prime example, if you find out that your kid has been going through certain scenarios in the classrooms that they in, right? What you think you're supposed to do as a parent? You're supposed to jump in front of that. Because before it's all said and done, it's going to be a problem. And especially if you the ones that, you just want to make sure you get through the day without having to worry about issues. You're always going to have issues to worry about. I'll say that much. But it's even worse when the parent has to leave their employment just to come and deal with you. But then again, if the parents are doing what they're supposed to be doing to some degree, they don't have much to worry about outside of the other negative influences. But teaching your kids that, look, you know, you're gonna have people who are different. You're gonna have people who are not as wise or might be wiser than you. So you're supposed to treat everybody with respect. Same way you want to be treated with respect, you gotta treat people with respect as well. Prime example, you can't disrespect a teacher and then expect that same teacher to help you out in the long run. Even though that is their job to help. But still, what if that teacher decides, I'm not wasting my time on you. I'm not going to give you the help you need. I don't care how bad you need it. Because sometimes all it takes is that one little ounce of disrespect to come from somebody, and somebody will dead cut you off. You know? You just got to remember that part. What you teach them and what you try to instill in them as a youngin' will eventually follow them into their adulthood. If you're teaching them the right things, if you're showing them how to maneuver around certain scenarios, you'll be okay. But when you're allowing things, prime example, they do have issues with learning and you're not trying to help them, what you think gonna happen? At some point, it's gonna get worse. That's just like if your child really having a hard time reading and you know you could read, why not try to help them? Even if you don't have time because you might be dealing with whatever, like prime example, you could be working crazy hours, right? But if I know my child needs help, even if I'm not going to be around to help because I might be stuck working or I might be stuck doing whatever, best believe he going to get the damn help that they need. Best believe he or she is going to get the help that they need. Why? Because again, I'm not going to allow my child to suffer. Even if I can't be there at that present time, I'm not going to sit here and allow you to keep struggling and going through it. Because then when it's all said and done, again, that finger gets pointed back to you, the parent. Because the first thing they're going to say was, well, if you knew I had this issue, why you didn't do nothing to help out? Angela, baby. And that's the things you have to worry about. Because when it's all said and done, again, some of these things that you don't step in front of will come back to haunt you. Again, like even like I was saying about earlier, teaching them about racism and teaching them about things that are important. Yes, you have to teach them that, because when they do get older, they're going to experience certain things, right? Or even before they get to a certain age, they might already have experienced or could be experiencing those same things. And you got to also let them know that, look, you're going to have people who are going to say and do the utmost, especially to get you to react, and to react the wrong way. When you teaching that, guess what? They'll have a little more understanding. They'll know what to avoid. They'll know what to do just in case if it does start getting any worse than what it is. And they ain't have to crash out. They ain't have to worry about being arrested. They ain't have to worry about possibly doing something that's unimaginable. So again, you want to get ahead of everything and teach things the way you need to teach it. Shay, baby, what's going on, sis? Hope all well with you and the fam. But yeah, again, when you teach things and you teach it from a good standpoint and a standpoint that they could understand and they could grasp everything, pretty much good. But you also got to remember too, prime example, you got more than one kid, all of them are going to be their own different persons when they get older. So you got to remember that part too. Not all your kids are thinking the same and moving the same. So just remember that. And if you got a child that, probably is having some form of a learning issue, you have to still treat them the same way you would treat your other kids. Don't treat them no different just because of, you know. That's a whole fact. Serious. Teach them how to build independence. But also, again, teach them, teach them about his differences. Teach them that you don't judge, you don't hate, and you definitely don't just be ignorant towards certain scenarios and facts. I don't look at people different because, again, you're a human being. I look at you different if you know you doing shit that you know you ain't supposed to be doing, or you're a part of something that you ain't supposed to be a part of. I look at you different. But other than that, no. If if you can't read, if you can't do certain things, hey, most I can do is try to help you. I ain't gonna laugh at you, I ain't gonna bash you, nor belittle you. Because that right there, you never know what the scenario was, why this person couldn't read well, or why this person still can't read, and how this person managed the only thing I can sit here and scratch my head on is how did you make it this far? But I've seen people who've done it too. Faked it until they make it, basically. Like, you couldn't read, write, or they just couldn't understand or comprehend certain things. But how they got far was, again, you had little boosters. Or, like how some people will do, I'ma hold your hand so people don't see it. But at some point, you can't keep holding their hand, and you can't just keep trying to be the crutch for them. They gotta be able to do things on their own as well too. And that is the most important thing to remember. Making sure that they don't become a crutch. Or make sure that they don't need a crutch. They should be able to stand on their own. So again, for some of y'all that need to hear it, teach your children what you need to teach them. Like I said, with me it's different because I might see the world different, but I don't treat it any different, And again, a human is a human regardless. I wouldn't care if he was black, white, Asian, yellow, whatever. Doesn't matter. What matters to me is character and just the way you move. That's it. You might be smarter than me in math, right? I could be smarter than you in history. But what does that matter? We're both smart in our departments. So I can't treat you any different. And that's the thing. Again, when we teach what we need to teach from the beginning, you'll pretty much learn shit the way you're supposed to learn it. You'll learn that, guess what? Not everybody is falling for the trap. You'll also know that, again, you have ways to deal with things that some people will always have a hard time dealing with. Now, yummy, baby. But again, see, like I said, I'm going in right now because of that situation right now. And thank you, 22, for bringing that up. But I had to bring this up as well, too. The things that we cry about that they don't have in school, I can remember back in the day, the things that we didn't have when we was coming up in school. We had things after school that would help us. We had things that we knew for a fact. And a lot of times our parents just took the time out like they were supposed to. And made sure we understood what we needed to understand. And made sure we wasn't crashing out. And even when we might have been crashing out to some degree, 9 out of 10 it was probably because somebody we was hanging around. Gotta also let them know. Be careful of the company that you keep. And that's where a lot of things are going wrong too. Because some of these kids don't even be angry. They just be following behind everybody. So, again, it's about what you teach at home. Riders, baby! Again, it's about what you teach at home. Making sure that your children understand what you're saying. But also, again, just lead them by example. There are some parents that I know who broke down certain things for their children because they went through certain things at work. Prime example. You know, a kid come to you and find out or see that you're upset about something. Once you sit down and talk, you know, and break it down to them, they'll understand. Like, oh, okay, you had one of those days. And vice versa. When your children going through shit, even if you ain't sure what's going on, you sit down and talk with them. And when they come to you and they break down to you what's going on, you sit down and talk with them and explain to them the best way possible. See, again, it's about what's being taught at home. If the right things are being taught, guess what? They might turn out to be great adults. They might turn out to be great teens. You know, yeah, you gotta teach them you gotta teach them independence for yourself and teach them just overall. And see, what you said, serious, was true. But see, there's a lot of people now that ain't doing that. Sorry to say it that way. There are some who ain't teaching their kids self-dependence, teaching them how to deal with racial tensions. But see, some of these children don't, like how even when we was coming up, we didn't look at people any type of way just because they came from a different background. Because a lot of the kids don't see racism, they don't see these type of things, especially when they super young. They don't see that. They just see another child of a different color or complexion, and you know, it's a child at the end of the day. But when you not teaching them and when you're not giving them the best type of advice that you're supposed to be giving them, oh, trust me, things could turn left. I remember when I was in high school and there was a dude that was saying the N-word too fondly. Like, I get it. You come from the hood. You've been around nothing but the melanated folks and all. But in the same token, you wasn't saying that around them. And you definitely wasn't saying it to them. Don't wait until a certain point now to want to start getting comfortable. See, that's the thing. You gotta teach them. There are some things you're just not going to be able to say because that right there can turn something into a racial situation. And even as we see with some of the adults now, they turn almost everything into a race situation. Got to stop leaning on that card. Because there are people who have been from different backgrounds and ethnicities that have come together and put together some good things, you know, that possibly changed or is changing, you know, things now. You know, and again, some people were born into that type of stereotype and behavior. I remember when I was in high school, I had a girl that said she couldn't date me because I was black. And I was laughing because I'm like, I'm not a color. So, if that's your reason, cool. But come to find out, in their background, they really don't like us. They don't really want us being a part of their background. But hey, you got some that really don't care. You know, as long as their children are happy, they're happy. That's what you also got to remember to tell them. You know, you're going to have some who are not going to go for you or try to go with you just because of their backgrounds. But some people are willing to throw that away because, again, when a good person is present and a good person is around and ready to do whatever, you can't get rid of that. That's why I said it's important to teach what is important. You know, teach them about differences in people, differences in culture, so on and so forth. You can't have them just stuck in one box. I know sometimes I might push the narrative of our kind is the best kind. But when I say our kind, I mean our kind that actually think outside the box. Our kind is the greatest kind. Why? Because again, we understand things. We don't just go off of emotion. We value things the way we value things, and we use logic before emotion. So yeah, we are the greatest people. When we think logically before we get emotional, we are the best kind of people. That's the narrative I'm pushing. The narrative I've been pushing. Because again, you gotta think about it. Not everybody coming from different backgrounds are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You know, some people go through the same struggles we might go through, if not a little worse. It depends. But the most important thing to remember is, again, teaching them that just because somebody might be different from you as far as ethnicity or whatever, that doesn't mean that that person is not a good person. That doesn't mean that that person's a bad person. That just means that's somebody that you got to get to know better, you know? But also keep observing certain things. The most important thing. You know, observation is the key to everything. So when you parents observing that your kids are going through it and you ain't trying to be a part of helping them, you're only creating a bigger problem that's going to, again, fall back on you in the long run. So it's time for some of y'all to start getting ahead of these things, you know, before it becomes a real dire situation. Y'all remember the story with the boy that shot up, I believe he shot up the school or whatever the case was, and then the parents got in trouble too, and now he's sitting up too? That could be a possibility. Because if you're not trying to get ahead of whatever the issue is with your children, at some point, they're going to take their anger and their stresses out on people that didn't even have nothing to do with nothing. And I think that is important right there to also teach them. If there's certain situations happening and it's only certain people or a certain group of people who are doing it, take the issues up with them, not with everybody. You know, prime example, I think I had one issue maybe on my job the whole 10 years that I've been working on this job. And I took it up with the people that need to be took up with. I didn't take it up with everybody, and I didn't blame everybody. Because that was something I was taught from a child. You don't blame everybody for the select few who are doing whatever. Like I said, I can't blame all folks for some of the history that we've gone through. I can't blame certain folks for what's still going on now. Most I could do is, again, just go by judgment of character. So that's something that really needs to be taught. That's something that, you know, some people are failing to take into consideration. But yeah, we gotta definitely just get back on the ball like how we was before. Just because times might be changing, that don't mean certain dynamics should change. You should always be willing to do what's necessary for the betterment of your children and the betterment of the people around you. It's important. But I would say the best way to deal with anger a lot of times is find something that's going to give your mind peace, give your spirit peace. When I'm at my angriest, when I'm at my angriest, prime example, and this is something I've been doing since I was a child, I'll get in my book and start writing something. I'll write everything that I'm feeling or everything that's been going through my mind, and I just let it flow. And that actually starts to help. For some people, it might be music. All right, well, you that angry, find something that you can listen to that's going to put you in a peaceful mind state, and then you move from there. The one thing you can't do is hold on to specific anger forever, because guess what? It will damage whatever it is you're trying to do in the long run. Because regardless to what, guess what? Prime example, if you end up getting a job working in a company and there's nothing but different people in this company, you have to deal with these different people regardless. You know? And when you're dealing with them, guess what? You know, it's your choice and your decision to decide if you're gonna allow certain things to take you out of your element and out of character, or if you're just gonna let it go over your shoulder and keep it pushing. So, you know, when you are doing what you're supposed to be doing overall, you're going to get a pretty good, you know, understanding. They're going to get a pretty good understanding as well, too. Because they're going to understand that, guess what? You know, not everybody is for the ignorance. Not everybody is for the nonsense. And not everybody is going to be in that same box, you know? But again, when you're teaching what you need to teach, which is values and principles, guess what? Those values and principles will follow suit. So, you know, again, some of you parents, you know, you're going to have to start getting more ahead of what's going on with your children, how to deal with these scenarios, and make sure that you're breaking it down for them the best way so they can understand that, again, you know, we live in a world where things are different and it's continuing to change as we speak now. No doubt, James, appreciate you, my guy. Make sure you pass everybody in this chat a plate too, you know. We all hungry. But you know, yeah. You know, again, show them the most important things. Teach them the most important things. You know, and again, just making sure that they comprehend everything. Because some people are still going to be kind of lost and confused about the things you're talking about. But when you break it down to a point where they could fully, completely understand, you'll see that they'll start moving a little different. They'll start moving different for the long haul, you know, which is the most important thing. One thing I will say though is that, you know, you have to teach them these type of things now, especially when they're still young. Teach them the best way possible, so when they do get a little older and more understanding of things, they know how to maneuver and how to work around these things, you know. Oh, you can keep the shrimp, James. You can keep the shrimp. Everything else is good, though. Everything else sounds good. But you can keep the shrimps. Well, pass the shrimps along to everybody else in the chat. Forget that. You know, but again, teaching your kids to think outside the box. Teaching them to not get caught up in the nonsense and the rhetoric that's still going on. Because regardless of how we may feel, there are certain racisms that are still happening to this day. It's systematic racism if you want to be technical. But you know, it's how you break these things down and it's how you comprehend these things that are the most important. Just because, again, you might have a certain group that is being ignorant and being insensitive to certain things, that don't mean everybody is going to think the same way. But that's the most important thing to remember. Oh, shoot. My bad, y'all. Shouts to this shrimp ginger ale that was sitting in the freezer since yesterday. But yeah, you know, again, when it's all said and done, Just like I said before, it's up to the parents. It's up to the guardians. It's up to the uncles, aunts, grandparents, anybody that might be dealing with children. It is solely up to y'all to make sure your children are getting not just the best education, but also making sure they're getting the best type of understanding of life. And again, it does start with you because you've been here longer. You have more life experience. Let it be known, like, look, not everybody thinks the same, not everybody moves the same. And if you happen to come across people who are blind and ignorant to certain facts, then those are the people you stay away from. You don't got to give energy where it's not needed. But you also make sure you stand up for yourself the proper way. Because some people will still take it to a point where you're going to have to defend yourself. But just know when you defend yourself, it doesn't necessarily always got to be a physical situation. Sometimes all you got to do is kill them with kindness or kill them with good words of encouragement, or just, like I said, don't even feed into it. Because you know the truth. I can remember one time a boy in school had said something about all you N-words ain't nothing but, angry people, or said a whole bunch of stuff that we know ain't true. Yeah, we got some angry people, but not everybody in our culture is angry. Most of our people is just trying to figure out how we getting from point A to point B, and that's it. Diddy, baby! You already know, if y'all just tuned in, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, again, that person said a whole bunch of nonsense that didn't make no sense at all. And guess what? When he was saying it, some of us could do nothing but laugh. Because we laughed only because we was like, if that's really what you think, then shoot. You should look at some of your people first before you even try to make this assumption. But again, sometimes you don't even give it energy. The most you can do sometimes is just shake your head in disappointment. Because it's sad that some of y'all really think that way. And continuously think that way to this day. But yeah, I think that's important. Teaching everything that you could teach your children. Like I said, even down to how to deal with racism and tensions and things along those lines, if they happen to come across something like that. The goal is to not crash out. That's the most important thing. Don't crash out, especially when you have things that, could be beneficial for your future, Another thing I'm going to speak about, and I feel I'm going to have to speak to some of the adults out here too. One thing you got to remember is that nobody can tell you how to feel. Nobody can tell you what to do. And nobody can force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Like prime example, you got some people who will be upset, oh, if you messing with this one and I ain't messing with you, and or if you doing this or you doing that, then I'm not rocking with you, and then it's up. And man, listen, we grown at the end of the day. We ain't little children. And to be quite honest, ain't no real grown man or woman gonna sit back and allow anybody to tell them what they can and can't do. What they decide to do or how they decide to move, that's solely on them, not you. You might not like a person, cool. I don't have a problem with that person. So whatever issues y'all having, y'all as adults are gonna have to figure that out. When you have people who are with this choose a side, or, man, listen, that choose a side shit should only come into play when it's really needed to come into play. Other than that, you can't tell no grown man or woman what to think, how to feel, who to support, so on and so forth. But even on here, as you've seen, some people really believe in that. everybody that's surrounded by me or everybody that's surrounding me should have an issue with that person. No. That's not how that works. You know? And see, when you do things like that, you actually drive away the real support. You drive away the people who actually are trying to be in your corner. See, like me, prime example. I ain't never tell nobody, don't support this one or don't mess with this one. Don't do this and don't do that. No, because I'm not your parent, number one. Number two, I don't expect you to do something just because I told you. And that's the problem. Some people with this telling you. No. You can't tell me nothing. Nothing at all. Because again, prime example, like even what I seen on here. You might have an issue with somebody. I might not be aware what the issue is. Y'all both could be saying what caused the issue. But again, if a person wasn't there in the beginning to witness anything, again, you can't expect somebody to just take a side. See, me, I'm going to always call things down the middle, like how I've been doing. You know, like I told you, some people will honestly feel that that's the best way to do it. Oh, well, in order for people to be on my side and to be here, I might as well say this, I might as well do this, or I'm going to let them know that this is what it is. Nah. And if people are unaware that there's an issue, again, you can't force people to try to look at it from your perspective or to just be on your side just because. Nah. Whatever issues y'all have, figure it out. That shit goofy as hell. How in 3 fucks you gonna tell me what, when, how, move around? Exactly. You have some people who actually think that. I can control everything. See, that's the thing. When some people want to control a narrative, this is how they're going to do things. But again, you kind of put yourself and some of the people around you in a bad position because now look at what it is. Look at what it's causing. And at some point, guess what? Some of those same people are going to say, well, if this is how you feel, then shoot. I don't have to be around you. I don't even have, come on. You can't try to force somebody or force anybody to be on your side for anything. You can't tell somebody, how to move, what to say, who to support, so on and so forth. I've seen this happen recently. People getting upset because certain ones are supporting certain ones, but at some point you got to realize everybody's their own individual being. Not everybody's going to look at certain things the way you looking at it. Only way I can see you getting upset with somebody is if you know that prime example. All right, I just told you this person was a PDF or something like that, or has a history of something along those lines, and you still decide to support them. That's when I'll be like, oh, okay. That's when I'll look at things a little different. But if it ain't any of those things, you can't tell somebody who to support, who to talk to, who not to talk to, who to be around and who not to be around. That's just like me saying, oh, you want my friendship, you got to stop messing with these people. No, why should I when these people ain't do nothing to me? That's what I'm saying. Some people will turn my issue into our issue. No. You can't do that. Because like I said, in the long run, you are going to drive away the people who actually are great supporters. But this is one thing people got to realize too. Hold on, y'all. But this is something that people have to realize too. I see what you just said there. No, it's the truth though. That's how some of them feel. Sad enough, even though it's funny how you said it, that's how some of these people think. If it ain't me getting the glory, if it ain't this, if it ain't we standing together as this, if we ain't coming together to try to knock somebody down just because I don't like a person, like, come on now. That shouldn't be the way you thinking. Because it's the truth. I wouldn't care if you was a content creator or a supporter. I always tell people, when it comes to me, prime example, you might have people that you support that I don't, or people that I probably had a run-in with. Don't care. That's up to you to decide to do what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do. The only thing I can do is give you a fair warning on one or two things if I feel a type of way. But other than that, no. It's your decision to decide what you're going to do. I don't have no say-so in that. But then again, too, I'm not looking for all the unnecessary nonsense, and I ain't trying to be putting myself on no high-ass pedestal neither. And that's the way some people think. Oh, well, if you messing with my app, then I can't mess with you. Just because your app is your app, that doesn't mean that they everybody's app. So, if you still thinking on that little kid time, guess what? That's going to be your downfall in the long run. That's my whole thing to a degree. Again, I can't tell people what to do. Can't tell people how to feel. The most I can do is try to give you some advice if I feel you need the advice, and that's it. Everything else you decide to do, that's on you because it's your life. You move the way you see fit. You don't move any old type of way because somebody told you to move a type of way. Because then, what kind of thinking are you doing for yourself? That'd be like somebody saying, oh, don't nobody run nothing over here, but then you're allowing people to overrun and override what you feel or override your product, prime example. That's like you running a business and somebody telling you, this is how you should do it, this is how you should do it. No, you could give some advice, but you telling me what to do? No, that's still solely up to me what I decide to do. Well, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should be as involved with this. If these things are not going to cause me to have a great downfall, or if these things are not going to be a burden to me in the long run, then, why should I allow it to be? But again, you got some people that just can't think for themselves. They think they can, but they can't. And it shows. That's why I tell people, I can move through any sector, prime example, on this thing. I'm going to get love and respect because it was love and respect shown when it came to me as a content creator as I was growing. I want to speak to those who need to hear that, especially those on this app, because there's some in these sectors right now that's going through it. You go where you feel comfortable. You go where you know for a fact you're welcomed and accepted. And you don't allow nobody to dictate to you what you can and can't do. I told somebody, and I'm going to say this again, the only person that can dictate to me anything is that higher power. Other than that, can't dictate to me nothing. But this is why I said some people get the game messed up because they feel like, oh, well, just because I might have some form of, I might have the persuasion, I might have the push, or I might have the whatever, I could do whatever. I could force people to look at things from my perspective. No, you can't. Nah, it's a whole fact, serious. I'm reading what you just said, too. That's the truth. You got those people who are wicked like that because, again, they got too much shit going on in their personal life that they ain't in charge of. They got too many things going on that they can't process. So my thing is, prime example, some of these people really don't have friends. They don't have nothing that most people would have. This is their life. This is their friend. But, prime example, you do need to unplug. There's some people who think they could say and do whatever and try to force people into something just because this is all they got. From sun up to sundown. Don't none of them got no real life. Don't none of them got no real friends, no real support, none of that. So this is their friends, their life, their support. For me, this is different. With me, and I was even in the chat earlier, shout out to my boy Mink. I was in the chat earlier when he was talking about certain things in that sector that they in, right? And this is something that you see everywhere. Some people, prime example, might get their channels monetized, and some people will start fucking treating them different, or they'll stop supporting them. What was the purpose of you being down for the journey if you want to just up and leave anyway? Which is corny. Oh, nah, riders, that's a whole fact right there. It's look at it. It works on both halves because it ain't just the young ones out there wilding. You still got adults who's supposed to be adults wilding out just as bad as the kids. So, prime example, I expect a younger person to look up to me if the only thing they see me doing is out here robbing and killing my own people. Point blank period. So, hold on 1 second, hold on. Nah, you good. Riders, look, you good. You know, but it's the truth, though. It is truthfulness to that. How do we expect some of these younger ones to take into consideration anything when, you know, we as the adults are not setting the right examples? Now, I'm not saying all of us, but there are some adults who are making certain situations worse than what they need to be. You know, but this is what I'm saying, like, even on here, you know, you got some people who feel like, oh, well, if you rocking with me, you can't rock with nobody else. I'm all for free will and free thinking. You do what you want to do. You know, but again, can't say that I'm going to put you in that box where if you don't mess with you don't mess with me, then nobody messes with you now. Because everybody going to have different interactions when it comes to people. And that's what people fail to realize. Somebody might have done something wrong to you, but that don't mean they did something wrong to everybody. So again, you can't tell or dictate to anybody what to think or how to think or how to move. You know, that's the thing though. Some people refuse to take accountability for certain actions. When I know I'm wrong, I take my accountability. I say what I need to say, and then I move on from there. I don't dwell on it. Some people will still dwell on certain things. When you're dwelling on things, it's only going to make things worse. Prime example, the reason why stress is still the #1 killer, at least in my opinion, amongst folks of any kind, is because, again, they're allowing too much stress into their life. The goal is to try to be less stressed, you know? If all it's doing is just causing you anger, that will take a toll on you physically. Not so much as spiritually, but physically, you'll see it. I knew somebody a couple years ago that looked like they was a crackhead. Sorry to say it that way. But we know what the problem was. Well, me and a few people knew what the problem was. The problem was they was dealing with somebody that was just not giving them what they were supposed to be getting. So when you're dealing with somebody that's consistently causing you stress and aggravation and anger, at some point it takes a toll. But when you get away from that, you start getting back to what you were doing normally, when you start just realizing that maybe this was for the best, that I got rid of that toxic situation, things will start looking up more. Things will start looking better. So I would say that, I would say that for a fact. No doubt, be safe on that road, serious, baby. No doubt, riders, make sure you save us a hamburger, man. Listen, man, put extra cheese and pickles on mine. Don't put no ketchup on there. I don't want no ketchup. No ketchup. But yeah, that's the one thing some of y'all gotta realize, and even as adults, for some of y'all who are utilizing these platforms, you can't allow certain things to bring stress to you. Like some people get stressed out because of, prime example, troll situations and things like that. Some people laugh at it, and some people don't even pay it no mind because, again, if it ain't worth my time and energy, I'm not giving it. Prime example, I seen a couple of the troll names that I seen coming here throughout all these sectors of YouTube, right? You think I give a damn about what they say? I don't, because it goes to show the differences when it comes to people. I'm not on here from sun up to sundown in every chat. I'm not on here trying to persecute anybody or demolish anybody that ain't worth it. Yeah, James, everybody cooking today. I ain't gonna lie. I almost was late for the live too because I almost nodded off again. That food items. I had some beef stew and rice, and I should be good for the day. Should be good for the day, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, again, just not allowing certain things to be a factor. Stress should never be a factor, especially when it comes towards building on here, for an example. If you're here for a specific reason, then you do what you do. Whether you trying to get monetized, or whether this is just something that you like doing, or this is something that you feel you need to do, don't allow the stress to get to you. That's the most important thing. Some people have gotten too stressed out. Some people been ready to leave. Some people been ready to quit on certain things. But again, what's the purpose of quitting? You already got this far, and whatever you're doing, again, you do it because you have the passion for it. You do it because you love doing it. Never mind everything else, And I would say that to those who need to hear it. About to say, Shine, somebody getting arrested today. We'll see. We shall see. People mad at Trump. But you know what it is too, riders? I get where you're going with that. I get where you're going with that. But see, that's the thing though. You don't want it to be to a point where it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want it to get to a point where it's almost like a hostile takeover when it comes to that neither. You don't want it to be, how they say, New World Order type situations happening either. But yeah, again, there's some things that we as the community could do on our own, and we don't necessarily always have to look for them for help. There's differences, There's differences in opinions, there's differences in how we could change, the atmosphere. But in the same token, some of the crowns are rising because the person that was in here before us decided to let people come here. But this is my thing. When it comes to that type of politics, you got to remember, some of the crowns have already been high. Some of the crowns might have dropped. because of certain scenarios, but other than that, certain crimes are always going to remain high because of just that geographic plane that you surrounded yourself in, you know? And it's truth now. Nah, I know riders, but see, that's the thing though. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You as a parent have a job and an obligation to make sure that your child, is raised properly, is given the best type of knowledge, wisdom, but also love and compassion. But again, you also have to show them that there are going to be some situations to where you don't necessarily have to crash out, you know? So again, it's a balance. Because a lot of this stuff, it does start from home. It starts from what backgrounds they're coming from. Again, this is why some of these crimes are happening now. Some of these crimes are happening because of look at the backgrounds from the person that's doing the crime. Everything, even down to sexual assaults and things along those lines, you gotta think about that person's background and what was being taught and what was being shown the whole time. You know? But in certain instances too, I get where you're going with that situation as far as turning the police feds. But see, that's the thing. You definitely don't want it to be a scenario where now it's just, it becomes a problem, and it also becomes a stress factor. You don't want martial law basically to be a part of this demographic. But in some situations, martial law is going to come into play whether we like it or not, because look at all the scenarios again that is happening. And when the people are not, being held accountable, when the people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, this is what they're going to get, And that's the thing though. Again, just making sure your children is getting a proper education. Even if you decide you're going to homeschool, they still have to learn something. So again, this is where you have to be responsible for a lot of things. Now again, when your child is in adulthood and they decide to move however they're going to move, the only thing you really can do is, again, just try to give the best advice that you can. Because there's only so much you can do when they're adults. But when they're children, nah, you got to make sure that they right. So yeah, if certain things happen and you are supposed to be the parent, you're supposed to be stopping it, and you're not stopping it, you should be held accountable. Because you brought this child into the world. You brought these children into the world. What else was you going to do outside of just lay on your back? So those are things you got to be airy of too. There's a lot of different factors that go into what we're talking about, but I try to keep that as real as possible. There are some situations where you can't fully blame parents. Again, when your kids are adults, they make whatever decisions they're going to make because they're their own person. But when they're still living under your roof and they're still under the age of 18, you are technically responsible for every little thing. I can't drop no link on here. I don't know how to drop the link on here for real. Danielle, baby. If this was StreamYard, sis, you know how to drop the link on it. The link would have been pinned. And I don't know if that link thing works anyway. Hold on 1 second. I don't know how to do this. I gotta figure this out on this damn device. But yeah, again, when they under a certain age, you are responsible for everything that they do. But when they get a certain age, they gotta be held responsible. Not so much the parent. But it's just truth to that matter. And one thing you gotta remember too is when you're not teaching them from that young state and age, when they do get older, hey, whatever they get into, that's what they're going to get into. Again, you do have an obligation and a responsibility to uphold. And when you're not doing the best you're supposed to be doing, oh, you can expect some nonsense. And you can definitely expect things to turn out for the worst. But where I was going earlier about certain situations is, again, nobody's supposed to be able to dictate to you anything. How you move is how you move. How you do things is how you do things. How you interact and who you interact with, that's solely up to you and nobody else. So it's just about the moral aspect of things. That's why I tell people, I'm not going to force you to do anything. I'm not going to force you to see things my way. If you disagree with certain things, hey, you disagree with it. I'm not going to get upset about it. But some people will. The minute you don't agree with them on something, that's a problem. But that's not the way life works. Because everybody's going to have a different view and opinion on things. And again, it's just about a respect level. You might not agree with what I said, but that don't mean I should curse you out or treat you any different. No. We can just agree to disagree and keep it moving from there. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's what needs to be taught, especially to some of these younger ones. Not to go off of emotions and not to try to force people's hand. Because if you try to force somebody's hand, guess what? They're going to give you exactly what you wanted. So, just got to be mindful on things. That's the best way to do it a lot of times. But that's what I'm saying. You gotta understand that. There's some things that we are not in control of. There are some things that, again, we have to understand. We can't force somebody to feel the way you feel, because when it's all said and done, they might not feel the way you feel. And again, it's depending on the scenario and the situation. I've had some people that told me, I don't agree with what you said about certain things. I get it. I ain't mad about it either. Because again, you have your own rights and opinions. Who am I to tell you how to feel or what to say or how to think? And that's where some people mess up at. Trying to get people to just agree with everything or move the way you want them to move. Nah. As long as they moving solid, as long as they ain't doing nothing that could upset the balance, you leave everything be. And some people hate to hear that, but it's the truth. Never try to force nobody to agree with everything. Like I said, we could agree to disagree and keep it pushing from there. That's it. But we don't got to be on no disrespect level, and we definitely don't have to take it past a certain level neither. Again, it's just respect. That's more important than anything. That's why when I drop the links, or that's why when I had my conversations with people, even when it's things I didn't agree with, hey, I didn't get upset. I didn't tell you they was wrong. None of that. How they feel is how they feel. Their opinions and their views are just what it is. Their views and opinions. But when it comes down to certain facts, that's the most important thing. It's more about the facts, And the fact of the matter is, there are some people who are going to feel like, even as adults, you should move the way I move. You should do what I do. No. I can give you advice on something, but it's still up to you to decide how you want to move when it's all said and done. So, And I think that's something that people should look at. So, especially on this app, because there's a lot of people who have lost great support, if not the greatest support, just because you're upset about something. You gotta get up out of that. Because that immaturity stage, that immaturity stage is gonna be the downfall to a lot of y'all. So again, I would say for those who are content creators, for those who are supporters, you go where the energy feels right, and you stay there. And you keep doing what you've been doing. And if people can't accept that, hey, cool. Those are the people you just look at. Those are the people that you just stay away from. Because if I gotta tell you, or if I gotta try to force you to do something that you shouldn't have to do, then I'm not being a good person at all. If anything, I'm almost being a dictator. The one thing to remember is that nobody can dictate what goes on in your life. That's solely up to you, because you're the author of your own book, But back to the main subject at hand is, again, just teaching what needs to be taught at home, so when they do get older, they can make clear decisions on how they're going to move and how they're going to maneuver. So, the most important thing to remember. But, this is a conversation I'm definitely going to reiterate on. I'll probably bring this back up tomorrow. But for right now, I got a little bit of time left. So for those that's listening, and for those who might have just tuned in, we got to get crazy, And this song says it right. Because this app is almost like the same thing. Chains and whips, man.
I will close your heaven for the hell of it. You think it'd be valor amongst veterans? I'm watching your fame escape relevance. We all in a room and he's relevant. You chasing a feature out of your element. And those lab diamonds under inspection. The question marks block your blessings. There's no tombstones in the desert. I know by now you get the message. Uncle said niggas must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Suck my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips. It don't take much to put two and two.
See you out here, James.
The street is now losing you. Money dried up like a cubicle. You gasping for air now. It's beautiful. John 10:10, that's my usual. Mamas is falling out your funeral. And bombs and float, they now suing you. They never find a gun, but the suits do. Bubbles are sick, he need medicine. Brought back to life, now he's dead again. Bitches don't make watches for presidents. Just a million trapped between skeletons. This the darkest that I ever been. The time is making you taste peppermint. You ain't driving the snow like it's the revenant. It sends orders back down to keep shoveling. Uncle said niggas must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips. You know we get caught when you move side to side. Like what the niggas say, and they ain't no more sports. And then you realize that the I'm not the candidate to vibe with. I don't fuck with the kumbaya shit. All that talent must be God sent. I sent your ass back to the cosmics. The things I've seen under my eyelids, kaleidoscope dreams, murder and sirens. Let's be clear, hip-hop died again. Half of my profits may go to Rakim. How many Judas's that let me down? But fuck it, the West minds me right now. Therapy showed me how to open up. It also showed me I don't give a fuck. The true time chilling out with the genocide. I'm generous, however you want it. I'll be the genocide. Gentlemen and gangsters connect. The agenda of mine.
I see you, Didi, baby.
This shit get gentrified. Heavy jeans like Genovese. I drop your Pentagon and show up at your gender reveal. And tell them, give me mine. I son niggas, I am the general. Wear my gin and juice. Every song in the book of Genesis. Let the sonics move. Niggas want the tea on me. Well, here's the ginger brew. Got gin and brick residuals, bitch. Get off my gin and juice. They say I couldn't reach Gen Z. You fucking dickheads. You must be full of that ginseng. Here comes the G shit. They genetics been synthetic. Screaming they genius. Yes, a finger wave. They all fall. Niggas is shit. God gave me life. A good year full of free will. Trump card tell me not to spare your life.
And I kind of felt where I was coming to anyway when it came to that, y'all. So, you know. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on.
Started with nothing, now I'm up in England for 20 bands. I did the Radisson, we tried to cope with the ceiling fan. I got a drop on my target, my niggas was marching on million men. I'm up in Harlem with all of my diamonds, all feeling like Kelly Can. That's how every nigga hating on me, they can suck a dick. They know I can fuck their bitch, I probably hit me 100 licks. We was running in that crown bitch. All I need is a damn bitch to take the product out of town quick. Keep me nervous around this. Louis got me wearing brown chicks. Looking like I stepped in dog shit. Bringing all my niggas on the road with me. I ain't chillin' till we all rich. Nowadays I got a call chick. Force drop with a frog test. Jumping at it like a frog do. Kiss the plug wife when I walk there. I ain't got time for the talk shit. Kill them early, that's bullshit. Every day a nigga fresh, looking like I said, right up by the coffin. So my driver back to Porsche. You want a feature, can't afford it. I bet I'm fucking till the morning. Just pouring like I heard that horses. GG5 in the backwood. Got the car smelling like horse shit. All of my bitches is gorgeous. VVS is sitting flawless. I'm up to once and I'm nauseous. I got your bitch sitting courtside. 50,000 to my lawyers. The reason I'm sitting in court high. Karma. What goes around comes around. Hope you got some armor. Got your bitch in Benny Hunter. She tryna chase me like a farmer. Eyes on a Finny monster. Staring at you niggas staring at me. LV Supreme the palmer. Hot temper need a gunshot. Most of my denim is fear God. Only thing I ever feel was God. It was so hard to go get a job. If they ain't that hard, we get it hard. I ain't got beef with no rap nigga. Say my name, we gon' go get them raw. Diamonds go like when the heat off. You got some money, nigga, we can talk. I don't need to take a weekend off. Every day feel like a holiday. I'm only fucking with the legendary nigga, so I had to give it holiday. I get the drop from a block away. You was that nigga, but not today. I'm here for the change, here for the fame. If you in the game, learn how to play. All gas, we don't touch brakes. I will Gucci for too much straight. 12 pounds in a Mustang. Your hands never touch weight. Your hands never touch rock. Downtown on a dust block. Hit us blowing up this truck stop. 2 words, nigga, fuck out. Catch you like I'm at a bus stop. Or waiting on your train home. Blowing whites acting about me in the streets. They ain't got a thing on me. Strapping like they ain't on. Not a day I step out, it ain't on. There's nothing in my pocket of norm. Stay to stay with the Glock while I'm torn.
I see you out here serious, baby. I see you, Didi. I see you, James. I see you out here getting it.
Who we separate?
The boys from the moon.
I'm not joining. I am not joining. You niggas really got me fucked up. It's about to get real spooky. We ain't even gonna play with you not one bit, bro. Thought about letting you live a little bit, but you gave me the gun, nigga. You told me to shoot you in the fucking head, nigga. I guess you thought I'd jam up or something. This clip unlimited, nigga. Shit don't stop, man. Yeah. This is when it gets spicy. You with the phone flex and started spitting just like me. Speak up if I'm lying. You told me that you watched my freestyle hundreds of times. Guess that's why you sound like me in a couple of lines. You said memories don't die, my memory don't lie. You literally went up there and mimicked me the whole time, putting niggas on the list. You tell the world it's first, but when I sent you backstage, you admitted to the shit. Perfect example of a nigga trying to walk up a scandal. You ain't never played a first percent. Turning Ye to rocket since Ye was on the rock. Working with sample, pick the wrong person and amp in front of this audience. Now let's get more intense. How is it stuck in the 40 clip? Or Toy Rich, I'll line the kid up like Toy Brick. I ain't none of these backpack rat catchmen gonna get. Throw money off that stack and start snatching on total shit. I ain't joining Lucas, never went to college. I'm a corner student before the music. White tan and pills and it's all inclusive. This ain't what you wanted, stupid. I threw the bait. Huge mistake, you about to fall into it. Show me your heart, and don't you start to panic yet. This is only the start. I'm about to send you where it's lonely and dark. Hold your remarks. Ain't no fucking street niggas out condoning these marks. Sheriff hit his body and they tore Tory apart. Keep it a buck, I really like this shit. And I give you respect, cause you one of the few that righteous shit. But that's beside the point. And whoever I stand beside a point is stretching the bird with a weapon so they never find a joint. It's not a game, it's no respect. This is not for fame, but I know if I finish you off, it's a lot to gain. Quarter capella, trade handles in the Rocky vein. Hear them in traffic, I bullets swerving in and out of lanes. We are not designed the same. You come to play or not, the 40 in the safety box, the 380 pocket chain. You all for it, it ain't called for it, but he called for it. Sacrifice a rapper life, I'ma take yours for it. It's a booby trap, before we fall for it, mofo. Push his cookie back, make him fall for it. Before I get bodied by a singing nigga, I body a singing nigga and air out the choir while they singing niggas. Me and you can meet up right now, fuck bringing niggas. Come up from the wires with the shotty, bunch of stringing niggas.
22, I see you here.
I don't got a clout chase, I don't got a rap for 9 minutes just to sound great. You this joint of Lucas with it sound, oh that's foul play. You this drinking, took a style on your love me now tape. You ain't never trapping no hoop you without a town place. You ain't got no killers down waiting on the trial date. My youngin' in the fast, and they hit him with a pound cake. 5-4 gun, man that shit don't even sound straight. I slam Tory to the ground shake and the towel break. That's gonna make a moonwalk, y'all can make a cloud skate.
Y'all think that YouTube is safe? This gonna be an easy one.
These headlines versus a nigga with a receipt one. I told you this your last straw, now you gotta eat one.
Living life on the tube till you got a breathing one.
Believing one, heaven to hell. And dead bodies leave a hell of a smell. And we ain't letting them yell. Time's mouth shut, hit the house up, cover the trail. And fuck where you sell. My magazine double XL. Somebody tell Tory put on his hoodie and step out when it's just me.
Yeah, I ain't hear that song in a minute though.
I don't wanna hear nothing about your sales, nigga, your followers, none of that shit. Nigga, come outside, nigga, put your fucking boots on.
Put your fucking boots on.
I do this shit for real, nigga. You must be really ahead of your time, nigga. You 20 years old with a 50-year-old nigga hairline. Fuck out of here. Tory! Uno, tell that nigga I still need my hook too, nigga. R&B niggas out of fucking pocket.
I'd have slapped this app around a little bit, show niggas how ugly it could get. State the great. I feel like I'm gonna go on the crates real quick, y'all. Let me go on these crates real quick. Let me go on these crates real quick. Let me go on these crates. Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Remix.
Hey yo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plays the hollers act to sound like Kevin. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Malone, recap, come and get some. Play around with that shine. High action, this one. All the sick ones, infliction. Poison and dark sickness. Best believe finger itching with 2 pro play. Now I'm tripping on MC's cliche. Shots that ricochet, start tripping plus bubbles. If the wicked ways gotta love me. You know when I love me. Look, ugly. Can't get you off from my punch from the sun and you. Got you into your last running hoops. Punk in a speed run coming through. A single shot make your beat come
I hear you.
Turn that Christian to a certified sinner. The palm I release time pinner. When you got sit up, I was hitting your ex. No petrol, your metro. Politics, keep the chicken heads gobbling. Them driving in, covered both halogen. Terrorize the city from the committee. Kick the both disciplines, turn gritty. Smack the driver head in the gypsy. When I approach rappers, we taking notes. I drop like I should've invented the raincoat. Absolute, I love the bird to the roots. I keep coming to you, boys, from the boots. Vigilante, hardcore to the fitness. Told you my attitude is anemic.
I'm the illest, the alive. Watch me prove it. I snatch the ground with your head still attached to it. Cannabis is the type of fight for right. Beat it, death and beat it, death for life. When you look at me long enough, I start to read your thoughts if the signal is strong enough. And then I pull your bluff like, yo, how many times you got? I could go on for more millennia. The monsters got on a car lot, and there's nowhere to run to. When I confront you, I pull your bluff like you had a phone number. Who wanna see cannabis to bow? Who wanna act blind, get shot down with a circus and end this style? I take them on and on, same side of the floor, spit on anybody who ain't coaching up to I'm on the phone and 100 to any.
Stay out the dark. If I catch you when the sun is down, run it, man. I'm a Boston. I'm gonna get it down. Put it down. Never stone no. It's gonna be that. See that? That shit will finish, dog. Believe that. Yeah. You value your life. So possess. Don't be a stupid nigga. Learn a lesson. I'm gonna get you either way. And it's better to live. Let me get what's in your sock. Ready to give and receive.
Believe when I say, when I tell you.
Don't make you get your way where nobody can smell you. When the light is out, it'll come back on. This ain't a flick. We gonna come back on. Make you strong. Do it strong. Put your ass for it, baby. Steve ass for it, baby. So I can you get from sweet, one deep, keep behind. And just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blaze the hot.
I see y'all here getting it.
4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, Mr. Smith, come get some.
My young sons fantasize of borrowing flows. Tell little shorty with a big mouth, the bank is closed. And sitting on my arm is off limits to challenges. You hold the rusty swords, I swing the Excalibur. I dare you step over my dimension. You little itch to be somewhere crying on detention. Watch your mouth, better yet, hold your tongue. I'ma do this for free this time, this one's for fun. Blow you to pieces, leave you covered in pieces with one thesis. Every little boy wanna pick up the mic and try to run with the big boys and live up to the real height. But that's like picking up a ball playing with Mike. Swinging the King Griffey or challenging Roy to a fight. Stapping your amateur MCs. Don't you know I'm like the dream team touring overseas? For rappers in the circle, I'm a deadly disease. Ringmaster, bringing the Tiger Cup to his knees. In the history of rap, they've never seen such prominence. Your naive confidence gets crushed by my dominance. Now let's get back to this life on my arm. If it ever left my side, it transform into a time bomb. You don't want to bar that, you want to idolize. And you don't want to make me mad, you want to socialize. And I'm daring every MC in the game to play yourself out of position and mention my name. I make a rhyme for every syllable in your name. Go platinum every time you run it, it's on the train. Watch your mouth, don't ever step out of line. LL Cool J, greatest of all time.
And I see y'all in here definitely getting it. I see y'all in here getting it. I see y'all in here. Hold on. Take that back to Brooklyn real quick, you know. That's a good thing, old head. Keep yourself on that positive level, man.
You ain't never seen a nigga this large. Motherfuck the house, a nigga garage is as big as the Praj. I move from city to city like a nigga at large. As smooth as Billy D, but as big as the bars. Like you really gone get me. You look calm, but on the inside you softer than a silicone. Kenny, the chillers wrong with me. You can look at the kids, see just how them chinchillas gone fit me. I strut through like I can still a throne with me. Pockets woke like I got some millions with me. Any bitch that chill a Jones with me. End up butt ass naked inside a feel a home with me. I got a ziplock, a killer grown with me. A hit of this Bobby and let me fill a bone with me. Let's let a crowd rivers like you fill our bone. Britney, I really don't get me, I really won't get me. Yeah, I think I know by now that I ain't nothing to be fucked with. I think I know by now that I don't care about who you fuck with. I think hoes know by now that I'm that nigga they should fuck with. I think I know by now it's F-A-B-O-L-O-V-S. Hey, ain't you that guy? There's no one else from head to ankle that fly. Who put love point blank through that guy? And there's nothing that you do ain't do that I can't do at my earliest convenience. And early in the scene since the feature with Lil Mo. Over 2 million people, I reach with my little flow. Instead sounded like the kid's speeches a little slow. Personally, I think they was reaching a little dough. But now they calling just to get a feature so it'll blow. I'm teaching my little bro, stay on the grind.
See how you getting it, hey.
Hustle the black star, power and broad. Even devil worshipers got a bow to the God. I know for you cowards it's hard. Your career is dead, so I send flowers and cards without regard. Nigga, I think I know by now that I ain't nothing to be fucked with. I think I know by now that I don't care about who you fuck with. I think hoes know by now that I'm that nigga they should fuck with. I think I know by now it's FABOLOUS. I think they know by now who the fuck I be. Yeah.
But
I'm with that STREETFAMILY. For you non-spelling motherfuckers, street family, yeah. Brooklyn. Fuck up. Word to Brooklyn. I thought you weren't coming. Yo, shorty is courageous, going through the stages of where her body is more mature than her age is. Far from the daddy little girl type. Can't even imagine what her world's like. It all started off as a youngin'. Stepfather used to touch her and she couldn't say nothing. The more she held in the pain, it kept coming. Eventually it scarred her for life as a woman. And then he just kept touching her. Inside that was crushing her. I got something to discuss with her. I'm coming with the tech with the air holes and the muffler. Black. Stressed bad, baby by a stepdad, her and little man, all alone up in West Half, tough road and without a car, it's a tough walk. Worst part about it is her mom think it's her fault. Word get around, y'all, you know how the town talk. Baby girl is innocent, labeled her the town hall. Suicidal thoughts on her mind, even now more. First the abuse, now she gotta raise her child poor. And that's why I feel for you. That's why I'm ready to kill for you. That's a black girl lost for you. Call me, I'll come through and
I ain't messing with y'all. I see you serious, baby. Stop talking about our mop water, son.
Yo, it ain't your fault, boo. I'm always here for you to talk to. Hold your head high when you walk through. Sometimes the devil's temptation will force you. The one thing about the Lord, he'll never cross you. Look at all the bad things that they try to do to you. And you're still queen of the earth and you're beautiful. Everything happens for a reason. If you ever need me, call me. I'm coming through squeezing. Black.
I ain't laughing with you. Stop talking about our mop water. Let me bring this back real quick, y'all. My bad.
Killer.
I ain't laughing, goddammit. Baby.
Kanye, this that 1970s heroin flow, huh?
Yeah, I hear people talking about who high we man. Man, they don't know we finna kill the game this year. Killer, yeah,
Ain't
come
no
on.
street mergers, I legislated the nerve. I never hated on murders premeditated. I served, I hesitated, I observed. I get sprayed, hit you from a block away. Drinking sake on the Suzuki, me in Osaka Bay. Playing soccer, stupid, stay in the sucker's place. Play your ace, take your girl, fuck her face. She dealing with killer, so you love it taste. She swallowing killer, cause she love the taste. I got caught up with crooked, kitchen orders that I'm cooking, but got caught up with the tricks and would've thought I went from Brooklyn. They get boring just looking, feel like Bill Cosby, pouring in the pudding. Now the dashboard is looking from a hard tangled granny. Interior, star spangled banner, hard game bananas, hard man and tanner, guns everywhere like the car came with hammers. He's back.
They trying to say me. I hear niggas saying it. But I flow is the truest.
My coffee's the truest.
Our girl is the models. They cruise the juices. Yeah, they say he. Yeah, they say he.
My coffee's the strongest.
Money back on my mind. Yeah, killer cam. The world is
I see
mine.
you just straight up like Simon says. Open vagina, put your legs behind your head. How many earworms, honey? Lime and red. You got pets you need too. Mine's a dead dog. Five mates, gators, that's necessary. Accessories, my closet's pet cemetery. I get approached by animal activists. I live in the zoo. I run scandal with savages.
About to say she probably is, James. Probably is.
I go to war, old Tim, batted crew, hand grenade, goggle, and a parachute. Y'all don't even know the name of my flip. It was touch me, tease me, in case with the shit. You don't know about the cases I get. Court case, briefcase, suitcase, cases of Chris. Ow.
They trying to say me. I hear niggas saying it. But I flow is the truest. The game's in the nooses. Our girl is the model. They cruise the juices. Yeah, they say he. Yeah, they say he. Cause I'm back on my grind. Money back on my mind. Yeah, killer cam. The world is mine.
Some sure shit. My bitch is pure thick. Play razor tag, slice your face. You're Rick. It's I who come by, drive through. David told Maury, 3/4 sky blue. Look at mommy, eyes blue. 5'2".
I'm co-signing today since you want to try to talk about the mop water.
Oh, you fly too. You sure it is good, ma. I fly too. Now a nigga got bacon to bake. Harlem shake now, I'm in Harlem shaking the weight, shaking the bait, shaking the chase. Kill you, shoot the funeral up there. Harlem shake it your weight. Just your picture though, you still taking a late. I'm laughing, you couldn't wait to escape. But anyone who owed it though, I had to load the foe. I hope a nigga heard when I said I told you so.
They trying to say me. I hear niggas saying it. But I flow is the truest. The game's in the nooses. Our girl is the models. They cruise the juices. Yeah, they say he. Yeah, they say he.
Rice, what's going on, my guy?
Cause I'm back on my grind. Money back on my mind. Yeah, killer cam. The world is mine.
Killer, you already know Harlem. Whole Midwest, Detroit, Naptown, St. Louis, Chicago, of course, West Side, holla at me, South Side, Wild Hunters. You know what it is, Ohio, Columbus, holla at your boy.
Y'all know what it is, YouTube. Holla at your boy. Remix.
I'm tired of the same stories, the same games, the same lies, the same tricks that you play and think I'm on red light. The same I come again, I waste my damn time. I say we better as friends, she thinks she all mine. Call me
Uh-huh. Serious, we gonna give you an extra cup of coffee. Don't think that I can drink it no more. I don't know if I should drink even though I love it. Be safe on that road, baby. Tired of the same chicken, same biscuits, the same fries. Come and go, these Popeyes come and go. I gotta. Oh, I need hair.
You say that you need me, but I don't feel needed at all. Girl, I've been through the hardest, and you broke me regardless. Catch me before I fall. Girl, I've been through everything.
Love, baby, baby. See you out here getting it. Let me go back in these crates real quick, y'all. Ladies, get your ass on that dance floor. Find your nearest do-si-do partner or whatever, and keep it pushing up in there. And serious, if you still listening, I got you next. Don't worry. I gotta go through my shuffle list again. going on, love baby? Be safe getting home, sis. You already. Did you say pass on it? Oh, fine. Oh, I already know, love baby. Trust me, I know. Fine, I'll let it slide today. For those that might be on the road or traveling, be safe. Got a couple songs left for y'all and I gotta get up out of here. See, I ain't getting it. About to say, don't start with it, James. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on 1 second. I'm feeling kind of petty, so you know.
Voulez-vous bouger avec moi, Sitting on the phantom, listen to the anthem. We sit down bad man, one man bad man. The girl with me, so I'm first, you know answer. He's so sweet, make her wanna lick the rapper.
Speedy recovery, love baby. You already know, sis.
And she just jumped off, jump off, you know she can jump off. Pull my dick out and watch her jump off. We make it so hard when it sounds so basic. Chevy grill looking like a set of new braces. Outside baby, we outside baby. Smoking on the bench like Papa baby. Check out the front, yeah, I love my bitches. Bonjour my nigga and over bitches. Still nigga teeth, we do it to bitches. And new name raps, we don't need these bitches.
Now can you tell me how good my French is?
Voulez-vous bouger avec moi, bitches? Okay, let's bring the big boy out. I'm Mr. Big Jumping Camper. It's the bumping time, it's the song of the week. R&B singer, Mr. Defeater. 16 years and still coming through your speaker. Mr. Piper, bitch, I'm on fire. Don't trust me, I'm a Billboard tracker. I got dream girls, what you gonna do? Got some chicks in it, and I am telling you. Look in the club, fucking up the dawn. I will have the drop, so these bitches better run. Making a move, I have sex to the song, after sex. I keep my chest like a ping pong. Ice on clear out, everybody move. Rivers on deep, I'm about to take these things. Every time I shoot a shot, it's like Swiss. Every time I shoot a shot, it's like Swiss. Every time I shoot a shot, it's like Swiss. I'm in the building.
I already know, love baby. I already know. I see you, DD baby. Let me bring it to Harlem real quick. My fault. I better not see nobody Harlem shaking in here neither. See you, James. See you, DD baby. I see you, little baby. Damn. I hear you, love baby. Try to, I know that pain hurt. Especially at this time of the day.
Newspaper said I did it. Now let's get it. Make this money, take this money. Ain't no way you can take this money. Ain't shit funny. Take it, honey. Take it, money. Now let's get it. Make this money, take this money. Ain't no way you can take this money. Ain't shit funny. Take it, honey. Take it, money. Now let's get it.
I don't blame you, sis. You should know around this time, you know the buses and the trains be the most crowded, so just try to keep yourself safe. I know you just came for therapy and all, but hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back in this crates real quick.
Can't blame you if you wanna leave. Cause I'm not the man that I want you to be. But there's a change that has come over me. So before you go listen to my last plea. You're the love of my life and I was doing wrong, but I wanna be right there. Staying down all night, wanna make it right, wanna change my life, yeah. I don't wanna play no games, change your name to my name, baby. Not the man that I used to be, no. Can't take back the things that I did before. But baby, I'm promising that my heart is yours. No, it ain't easy, baby, but you gotta believe me, baby. All I'm asking for is one more chance. I'm only because of you. You're my life and I want you to know my heart beats like you. Staying out all night, wanna change my life, yeah. I don't wanna play no games, wanna change your name to my name, baby. Not gonna be the man that I used to be. No, I'm changing. I wanna do right. I wanna spend my life with you, girl. I don't wanna play no games, wanna change your name to my name, baby. I'm turning in my place now. Let's go. I used to be up in the club, popping bottles, wrist listening. Shorty try to tell me chill, but I wasn't listening. I can't deny you knew we could be immature. One way of saying sorry, take you to the grocery store. You told me all you really wanted was to see me more. Then the stress hit me hard like a meteor. I hear rock bottom, you were still picking me up. I neglected you, we didn't hug, didn't kiss enough. But you never threw nothing up in my face. Give me all your love and your warm embrace. Yeah. Now I see I never find another like you. You the type who make a player wanna wipe you. For me and you, this money's not an issue. And I miss you when I touch you. I can feel it through my bone bristle. I'm still with you and I'm sorry about the way I did you. Know it's just so easy with you. All because of you. My life and I was doing wrong, but my heart beats like you.
Remix! I got 2 more left for y'all and I gotta get up out of here for real, but appreciate y'all for rocking out this afternoon. I'm gonna reiterate on the conversation tomorrow, definitely, but
all over your nose. When you make your angry face, that makes me wanna just take off all your clothes. And sex you all over the place, yeah. Even the way you storm around, that makes me wanna take you down. Oh, baby, I ain't sure, but one thing that I do know is every time you scream at me, I wanna kiss you. When you put your hands on me, I wanna touch you.
You already know I appreciate y'all, you know.
Just gotta kiss you, baby. I don't know why it's like that, but you're just so damn sexy. When you're mad, baby, don't think I don't take you seriously, but I just can't help the fact your attitude excites me. So exciting, you know ain't nothing better than when we get mad together and have angry sex. I love you proud, and we forget what we were mad about. You leave a little wrinkle over your nose. You make your angry face, that makes me wanna just take off all your clothes and text you all over the place. To the way you storm around, that makes me wanna tear you down. Oh, baby, I'm not sure, but one thing that I do know is every time you scream at me, I wanna kiss you. Baby, when you put your hands on me, I wanna touch you. And when we get to arguing, just gotta kiss you. Oh, baby, I don't know why it's like that, but you're just so damn sexy. And every time you scream at me, I wanna kiss you. Baby, when you put your hands on me, I wanna touch you. And when we get to arguing,
You have a great day too, serious baby.
I don't know why it's like that, but you're just so damn sexy. Man.
Bobby Valentino. Hey, yo, Tim, drop a beat for me. Yeah. You'll see what it says.
I got one more left for y'all and I'm up out of here. But
Let's see that. Hey, check this out right here.
Say, baby, what's your story? You got the goods, it's plain to see. The kind of capable of all this needs. And I'm so curious. After the club, hang out with me. Valentino is sure to please. But now let's have an apple martini and get to know each other. Tell me how much you better know she. Looking for the name is killing me. Over here, come follow me. Tell me how much you better know she. Looking for the name is killing me. I'll meet you in the beer. I'm gonna lay you on the floor. I'm a bad boy, just thought I'd let you know. These are the thoughts running through my mind, 'cause I'm so curious, yeah. Couple more shots and we're out the door. Stay off in the cool 'cause it's more of a store. Get ready to the pool in my driveway, girl. Can tell by now I want you, yeah. Sexy thing, ooh, what's your name? Love, you're the finest thing that's up in this club. Your girls, they don't compare to you. Can't help but stare at you. Let's make a toast to the good. Tell me, yeah, how much you better know she's looking for
see y'all ain't getting it. Hey.
Stare at you. Let's make a toast to the tell me how much you let those dreams is killing me. Before you can follow me. Oh, tell me how much you let those dreams is killing me. How many children be tell me how much you let
I see you out here, love baby. I see you, James. All right, I got you. Hold on. Hold on, I really gotta go through the shuffle list. Hold on. Ain't this a bitch? How you gonna shuffle my shit? My bad, my bad. I'm about to get gangster real quick, about to get real gangster. Where's my shit? Oh, you whole ass niggas ain't trying to give me my motherfucking music. Hold on. So this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna be nice and give y'all one more after this one. Damn list try to shuffle on me, y'all. Ain't nobody helping me.
I'm on the stage right now, singing your favorite song. In the crowd, you know where to be from as they sing along. I say, you look good without no makeup, no lashes, even better when you wake up. I see the look on your face, I see you hiding the hate. I see you looking for someone to scoop you right off your feet. You wanna ride in the race, you wanna go out on dates, you want somebody to come bring you flowers. Get someone to talk for hours, wash your back while y'all sit in the shower. Someone to tell you you're beautiful, someone to tell you you mean it, someone to tell you I love you every day, and don't got a reason. You want someone to bring you peace, someone to help you sleep, someone to pick you up when you're feeling down, feeling lonely. Somebody who can make it better, somebody who can open up those gates, open up those gates to your heart. I'm on the stage right now, singing your favorite song. In a crowd, you know where to be from as they sing along. I say, you look good without no makeup, no lashes, even better when you wake up. I see the look on your face, I see you looking for peace. I see you tired of the hurt, tired of the pain, tired of the nights where you can't get no sleep. I see you tired thinking about it and cheat. See you tired thinking about it, you're leaving. See you tired of being so tired, and you're damn sure it getting even. Somebody who can make it better, somebody who can open up those gates, open up those gates to your heart. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm on the stage right now.
got a last song of the night, y'all. Might as well get your bounce on, get your dance on. For those that might just be tuning in late, y'all can definitely catch this replay. I will be back tomorrow with a conversation, as always, so you know what it is. Probably the same time, love baby, like 3. Let me stop lying. It's the last song tonight, for real though. And I appreciate everybody that rocked out this afternoon. I see some of y'all running around these streets. I'll definitely be back tomorrow for the conversation. And a special happy birthdays to everybody celebrating this week. I know what it is. Now I got the juice, coffee blender and grinder juice, called coffee juice. You already know, serious baby. That's not my coffee. When in Starbucks it goes round and round, up and down. Appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build, still becoming a part of the build, and yeah, we still got great combos coming. And I appreciate y'all for rocking out, but let me get my ass up out of here. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. And for everybody that was in attendance today, you already know that love is love and it be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real bills. I'm lying. Last song of the night for real though. I'll let y'all ride out with that one though. I like the way this chronic hits. What kind of strain is this? Okay, I'm about to purchase this, and I'm about to like the shit. You can name like the 90s. You gotta roll an entire blunt, smoke an entire blunt, smoking that purple and sour runs. Let me start remixing this over. I like the way this chronic hits. What kind of strain is this? Okay, I'm about to purchase this, and I'm about to like the shit like the 90s. You gotta roll an entire blunt, roll an entire joint, and the purple and sour runs. You gotta roll an entire blunt, roll an entire blunt. Got me that purple and sour runs. But I appreciate y'all for rocking out. Y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. And until the next live, we out of here, y'all. Peace and blessings.